Hello from wherever you are, and welcome to Let's Play Games. I'm John McFarland, Adult Services Librarian for Nashville Public Libraries, and I hope you'll join me in learning or rediscovering some of the more common and uncommon games out there. This time we're going to go into one of my personal favorite stacking games. You have a small stock, you have a pile, you just have to create a pile. It only goes from 1 to 12. How hard can that possibly be? Oh, there are ways. This is Skip-Bo. Let's get stuck in. So Skip-Bo is a pretty simple game in the fact that you are creating piles in numerical order 1 to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not that difficult, right? You have a hand and you are trying to get rid of a stock. You've got some piles in front of you. Just create a stack. There's no way this could possibly be difficult, right? Oh, there always has to be a reason. But let me take you quickly through what the deck has, and then we can get into the secondary layers, if you will. So each of these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 of each of these. And there's a little bit of probability involved and some assistance with these Skip-Bo cards, which we would treat as wild as they can represent pretty much any number here in order to create a stack. So what we're gonna do, the most important of any game, especially when I talk about it on this series, is shuffling. Now this one's a bit more cumbersome of a shuffle if you're not as familiar with card shuffling. If you are, totally understand. You can scooch forward a couple seconds. But what I want to tell you is you've got a couple different ways. So we can kind of just take a couple handful and start to mix it a little bit. And sometimes the cards will absolutely fall straight out of pocket and try and escape. Just remember to catch them. And this one, you can actually just go ahead and see. There's not too much yet, but that's only because we haven't shuffled super hard. So another way you can do this is kind of make some piles or do what's called washing and just move them all along the floor. And this will help you start to get some separated piles. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle these up for you. I'm gonna deal them out and then I'm gonna explain exactly how I'm dealing them out. One sec. Okay, I went in and shuffled and I did a couple things. First off, I dealt 30 cards to each player. This is our stock. Our goal of this game is to reduce our stock. So it's not just creating piles of 1 through 12, it's using these piles to help reduce your stock. And I have 5 cards in my hand. What you have are, you'll see here quickly, 4 individual piles in the center. And our goal is to be able to use these in some way that allows us to reduce our stock. So I can play 1 on the center area. And if I had another card to play, I would then be able to take that to build off the stack. Now, early game, it does mean that you're kind of limited in what you can do. So what you do is, in order to end your turn, you're going to discard into one of 4 available discard piles. Now here's the fun with this. You've only got 4 discard piles. Let's say you have to discard a 5th card. You have to put it on top of another card, and you can only play that card when you have gotten rid of all the cards that are on top of it. So there's a couple layers here. Don't worry, we'll go through all of it. Now, here's what we do. We are now looking for, on both of our sides, the first ability to play 7. So the Skip-Bo here can function as a wild. It can be any number. So I can put here, that makes it a 2. This makes it a 3. Now, hands are intended to be hidden. You do not need to show, but I'm showing you for demonstration purposes. On the other side of things, they had not 1 but 2 3s they could play. You hate to see it, but they do know that this 10 is available, so we're gonna discard this 11 into our first pile. With me so far? Cool. Here's the second turn. Now, the other player gets to draw back up to 5. They would have loved that 2 earlier. They've got multiple 3s. They can't play anything, so they're just going to create their second discard pile since they've got some 3s to work with here. And now, play goes back. They can't do anything either, so they've got a 6 they can work with, which will be good if we can get 4 and 5 on the road here. Here's another 8. Notice how the piles are going to get pretty large at the beginning here, just because we're now kind of digging for numbers. We'll put another 8 here since we've got another 8 to roll with. We're really looking for a 4 here, or a 1, even better. So we've got a 1 here. Can't do anything else, so they're going to put one of the 8s down. This person's going to draw, get themselves back up to 5. But hey, there's some things we can at least do here, which is the 2. And they can play the 3. So you've got a couple options here. You can either play from this discard pile, since you've got a number that matches, or you can do that. And I like doing that because the next time you draw, you'll get 2 cards, which means you get a little bit further into the pile. So what we're going to keep doing here is now we're searching for 4s. Can't do anything here, so we'll make this discard. Notice how we're making some choices here. Here's your 4. Now we're looking for a 5. We'll discard this 10 here. We're really looking for... And this is where it's good to discard another on top. You can play this 7 because it's on top of the 8, so you'd be able to do 6, 7, 8. We're just really looking for this 5 here. There's another 7. There's a 12. I'll just discard this 12 here since they can't do anything. This person gets another 9. I think they'll put the 6 here. Once we get a 5, we'll be much more in motion because now notice we've got a big discard pile that we can do quite a bit with once we get it going. Another 9. Now some choices have to be made. Let's see. Oh, we've got a pile of 9s at this point, so I'd be able to do something with that. 10, can't do anything with. Skip bow. That actually is going to help us significantly. So now we can do 5, 6, and then we've got a decision to make because I would be able to keep going and reduce my stock, but I can't get there yet. I would rather do 7, 8, 9, and then 9. That's playing quite a few cards. And then over here we can do 10. Skip bow, that's helpful. So we can do 10. And I see that there's an 11 here, so I'm going to use my wilds. And then one of the 12s. So that will put it in this faraway discard pile. Now we're going to have to start all over again at 1. So this is our basic high-level view of how to play this game. It hasn't happened yet, but we've gotten close. There's one thing I want to talk about as a concept. Let's say you are able to play all of your cards into piles. You actually get to keep going by drawing 5 new cards. And as long as you can continue, this would have been helpful earlier, you can create quite a few piles and start clearing. So that'd be 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you get to flip your card over, and whatever card you have here is the next thing you aim for. This is one of the core rules of the game, is trying to reduce your pile by any means necessary. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to shuffle again, and then I'm going to add another layer to this. We'll add in a third player, because this isn't just a 2-player game. This can be up to 6. Let me reshuffle, redeal, and then I'll show you a little bit more. One sec. All right, reshuffled, redealt. 30 cards to player 1, 2, and 3. And notice how our draw pile is a little bit smaller this time. But the core rules are the same. 4 piles, 4 discard, and we've got a little bit better starting hands. Especially for the player to my left. Especially because they have a wild card right at the beginning. They're going to just scooch that right on there. And grade a 7. So they have a 1. They have a 2. They have a 3. And they'll discard one of these 10s. So this is now, sometimes it's easier to do it like this. This person has a 4, which is why, in theory, what they shouldn't have done is played this, because that person would have then been dependent. But we're not always going to play perfectly, are we? So that's a 4. Flip this. This becomes a 10. They don't really have anything they can do, so they'll do a 1, a 2, and a 3. And they will discard this 11, since if they get this 10, they'll be able to play this 11. So they'll be able to draw 4 cards on their next attempt. Now, what are they going to do? So they've got a 4, 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, flip over 1. It's a 10. They've also got a 1. So as I mentioned last time, when you use all of the cards in your hand, you get to draw 5, and you get to keep going. 3, 4, 5. They're hoping for a skip bow or a 9 to go after this 10, which they do have. Oh, they have one in their hand too. So they'll just go ahead and get rid of this 10. Wild. They'll do a 5. Do a 6. They'll, I think that's a 2. It's a 6. And they'll discard this 5. Since there's a 5, they can get a 6. So trying to set yourself up while trying to block your opponents, especially if you know what's coming. Again, playing imperfectly because a 7 will be happening here. So 1, 2, 3. They can get a nice little run going here. So that's a 2. But they'll go ahead and play this 7 first. Let's see what the draw is. That's a 2. Can't do anything with that yet. But they can do an 8. I'll go ahead and play this 11 and this 12. So we're done. Just put this off to the side. So there's an 8 and a 2 on the field. And can't do anything else with that. So they'll just go and discard this 10 here. So that kind of forces, knowing that they at least have to have a 9 or a wild card in order to be able to function. So I'll get 4 cards, which they get lucky, and actually they do get a 9. So they'll do 9, they'll do 10, they'll flip, get another 2, they'll get 11, and then they'll get 12. This is another little pile we'll be able to make. And then they've got nothing else for now, so they'll discard this 12. And then play will continue on like this, where now you're really starting to think, what little ways can you create paths to get as far as possible? We've got a 2 here. They'll also discard this 12. The high numbers that are here, you can only do so much with. So they want to get rid of this 2, so they'll start a new pile, make it 2, flip. They can make this a 3. This will be a 4. So they'll flip that, another wild, getting nice and lucky here. But I don't think they want to do anything further Now, let's just go ahead and go for it. We'll make this a 3. Flip it, just see what we have in the end. So 10, because you can actually get really lucky and just scale down. So notice as you continue playing on, there's more and more layers to it. So 4, and then 5. And yes, you're kind of setting up over here for them to reduce their stock, but it means that you get to draw more in your next turn, which means more opportunities for you to be able to deplete your own pile, especially since you're kind of now hunting for a 1. So that adds another layer onto it. Let me shuffle one more time and show you how wild some of this can get, including there is a team-based method, even with 6 players. 1 second. Now we're going into true chaos mode. 6 players, and I'm making it a partnership. What does that mean? Well, I've got the people across from me, people here, and the people here, all in the same team. And the way this is going to work is we're going to take advantage of the other's respective discard piles. Much like games like Whist, this is non-communicative. So I can't be like, here's what I have, here's what I'm aiming for. You also would not want to do that in the first place. However, there is a misturn rule, basically, if you decide to communicate through some sort of sultry means, I suppose. But the way this works, notice how we have a very itty-bitty draw pile. But this means that there's more opportunities for other people to play. Discard piles can accumulate in different ways, and there's only 20 cards in your stock rather than 30. So we'll start to our left. So there's 1, there's 2, and they'll put 11 in their discard. And the way this will work is that the person over here, if they see that the 11 is available and they need it to complete their stuff, they can say, hey, put your 11 on this pile. Job done, right? So we've got a 1, 1 and a 2. And I think they'll hold on to that wild for now. They'll discard the 7. Meanwhile, over here, what we're gonna do is 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that will work for now. Then what can happen, we've got 11 over here. Is there a way to get all the way up there? 7, 8, 9, 1 short. So at least what they're gonna do is they'll put this 1 here, then the 2. Let's see what they get next. 7, not real help. Oh wait, they've got a 7 right here that they can play. This is where it gets a little chaotic, but now 8, 9, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, let's go ahead. So that way, another 7. You can get all the way to, and this is where you could say, because it's the person across, hey, play your 11. But for me, I want to have more cards in my hand for later. I'm gonna discard this 7. Can I do literally anything here? Not particularly, so I'm just gonna put this 1 down here, and I'm gonna discard this 8. Now we're all the way here, and I can at least get rid of that first pile, and we'll just put this all the way off the page for now, just because we have this draw pile here to work with. Got a 6, can't do anything with it, so they'll just get rid of, keep a 5 down here. So now we have gone all the way around. This person gets to draw 3. Can't do too much aside from a 1 and a 2. Now, how do you want to discard? Let's put the 10 on top of this 11. So you still have 1 pile, but you've got something you can scale off of. So this is going to be, oh, sorry, that's their pile. 1, 2, 3, this person's getting real lucky off of, so they can at least do 3, 4, can't do anything else. They'll discard this 12. Actually, they'll do 2, and they'll keep this handy, discard the 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we got a little bit we can go off of here. At least do the 5, and they'll discard the 10. Let's get the 11. They don't want to set up over here. Now here's where you run into the bottom of a pile a little on the faster side. But that means that we're just going to literally shuffle this up, and we've got some guaranteed low numbers in here. And as you continue playing, there's going to be even more chaos for it. So let's see what they get, because there's at least a couple wilds. They can get to the 7 now for sure. They get a 1 and a wild, so they'll be able to do 6, 7, flip, wild, 9, flip. See how it can scale and you get a little bit on the luckier side. 10, flip. If they had one more wild, they would be able to get all the way through yet another pile. So as you go around the table, you will find ways to, actually you can say, this perfect example, hey, play your 11 over here so I can play my 12, and then flip. And this becomes another discard pile. And a 1 for good measure. And then let's maybe get rid of this 7. So notice you have a lot of options here in just trying to make a basic build. And in going almost around the table twice, we've already created some fun chaos and some layers. This is Skip Bow in a nutshell, with some fun twists on it that are in the basic rules. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to join us next time as we go into a very black and white rule set game. Its simplicity is matched by its extreme level of frustration. Also, be sure to check out some of our great other content on our National Public Library YouTube page or on our NECAT Network channels, where you can find other great series like more of my episodes, as well as so many other good shows out there. I'll see you next time.